Did you do any reading when you were going through your cancer therapy and stuff?
Yes, my reading changed. Actually, it's a very funny story. I did a film called Hum Saath Saath Hain, which was directed by Sooraj.
Yes, there were 25 different people in that also.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember I used to, on set, when I used to have all these books, and Sooraj had once said to me that, she would say, Sonali, you read very dark books.
Oh, okay.
And I looked at him and I said, yeah, okay, whatever. And he's saying they're so dark and, it's not good, you read
Typical
very dark
Barjatya
books.
attitude, right?
It's very dark. And, so can you
Family
imagine?
values ki
I'm
kitabein
doing
padho.
Hum Saath Saath Hain, and here I'm reading these really dark books. I don't remember which book it was, but, maybe it was a Marcus or it was an Isabella and they could, or various other ones. And he would read the back of it and say, I said, Sooraj, which one? He said, no, Chicken Soup for Soul and all of those, the happy books, they make you feel good. And the thing is that when I was diagnosed with cancer and when I was reading, that line came to me. And I said, this is what he meant by it. I don't mean that particular book recommendation, but I understood what Sooraj meant when he said you were reading such dark. Because when I read when I would read the books that I normally read on authors that I was normally reading, I was going down a rabbit hole. And it was very difficult to come out of that, So I understood that I needed to change. My book club members would tell me. It was a book called A Little Life. It's a very good written, very well written book, but so sad. And I remember my community telling me that we don't think you should be reading this. Multiple comments about how this is not the time you should be reading this book. It's so sad. It's going to pull you down. And I could not finish it. And that's why in the book I write, that is the other thing I write about, that there's no shame in not completing a book.
Yeah.
You don't have to prove it to anybody that, I've read this author just because they've won this award and that award. No, it doesn't matter. You might be reading an author who has won no award, but you know what? The award is that you're enjoying that book. Yeah. And that's what matters. So I started looking at very different kind of books from there.
Also for parents, there's, just go into page 64, there's this part about children who might have a challenge reading, whether the child is clinically diagnosed with dyslexia or not, but there might be resistance to reading which could be for various reasons. You don't need to get affected or obsessed about making them, forcibly pushing them to read. There are books which can be read even if they're not completing the books. There's also part 4, which is in 65, recommendation 4, that there's children with physical disabilities, and now we have books which you can read. So, and then there are people with cognitive disabilities. For them also, there are lots of recommendations here as to how to go about it if you're finding your children or your sibling finding this problem with various things. And it says that go back to the books that you read when you were a child. That's another thing which I found very interesting. I've done that. I've gone back to sometimes. Yeah. I feel silly. I don't tell people, but I go back to an Enid Blyton or something like that. Not because of anything, but it's just that one day I see it lying in my shelf and say, utha leti hu. Yeah. What is it? Because, it might be something that somebody was said that, Enid Blyton was racist. Do you remember that period where it was said about her? So I said, okay, पढ़ के देखती हूँ यार, मैं था कि नहीं, और
and what did you think?
I didn't find it. Yeah. I didn't find it racist.
But also because we are all cancelling people so fast and so quickly, and we are so quick to judge.
Yeah.
But every period has its own, and that's the beauty about books. So I always say that it's not just the world that I'm traveling. See, for me, the beauty about reading was that I always say that was the cheapest way to travel for me. Huh. We came from very limited budget in our family. There were other needs that were there, so we didn't travel. But the books took me everywhere. They took me all over the world. And you know what I say? It's not just all over the world. They're taking me into past, into future. They're taking me on different planets, whatever that imagination is. But I'm traveling the universe with books, the fastest and the cheapest way to do it.
Do subscribe to the ANI Clips channel to get shorter versions of this podcast. Click here to watch the full episode.